What happens when nature unleashes its full fury? Our planet, a cradle of life, possesses a power so immense it can reshape continents and alter history in moments. We live with a fragile sense of security, but the Earth is ever-changing, and its most dramatic transformations are often its most devastating. Today, we journey back to witness some of the most destructive natural disasters ever recorded. From the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, to the volcanic fury of Mount Tambora, the earthquakes in Haiti and San Francisco, the China floods, Chernobyl, and the triple catastrophe in Japan. These are not just stories of destruction, but testaments to the raw power of nature and the enduring spirit of humanity. Now let us begin our journey into the heart of the storm. December 26, 2004. For millions across Southeast Asia, it was a day of celebration, until disaster struck beneath the Indian Ocean. Two tectonic plates ruptured off Sumatra, unleashing energy equal to thousands of atomic bombs. A magnitude 9.1 earthquake shook the planet. The real threat was a tsunami racing across the ocean. As they neared land, they rose into towering walls. On the shores of Banda Aceh, a 30-meter-high surge obliterated everything. The devastation spread across 14 countries, reaching as far as East Africa. Over 230,000 lives were lost, making it one of the deadliest disasters in history. The 2004 tsunami was a brutal reminder of the ocean's hidden power. Mount Tambora, Indonesia, 1815. After centuries of quiet, the volcano erupted with unprecedented force. The explosion was the largest in recorded history, sending ash and sulfur high into the stratosphere. Darkness fell over the region. Villages were buried, and tens of thousands died instantly. But Tambora's true impact was global. Ash circled the planet, blocking sunlight and dropping temperatures worldwide. The following year became known as the Year Without a Summer. Crops failed in Europe and North America, famine and disease spread, rivers flooded, food riots erupted, and millions struggled to survive. A single eruption on a remote island triggered a worldwide agricultural disaster. Tambora's legacy is a stark lesson in how interconnected our world is, and how a local event can change the fate of millions. The Earth's internal forces can plunge the world into darkness in an instant. January 12, 2010. A magnitude 7.0 earthquake struck just outside Port-au-Prince, Haiti. In less than a minute, the city's buildings, homes, hospitals, even the National Palace, collapsed into rubble. The devastation was total. Over 200,000 people died and more than 1.5 million were left homeless. The infrastructure of an entire nation was destroyed. Roads, ports, and government buildings gone. Survivors faced chaos, injury, and desperate conditions in makeshift camps. Humanitarian aid poured in, but damaged roads and ports made relief efforts nearly impossible. The earthquake decapitated the government and unleashed a humanitarian crisis. In the aftermath, Haiti struggled with political turmoil and disease, but the people's resilience shone through. Neighbors dug through rubble to save each other, communities shared what little they had. Amidst the ruins, the will to survive and rebuild endured. Haiti's tragedy became a testament to human spirit in the face of despair. In 1931, China faced a disaster of unimaginable scale. After years of drought, heavy snow and torrential rains swelled the Yangtze, Yellow, and Huai rivers beyond their limits. Dikes failed, unleashing a flood that submerged an area the size of England and Scotland combined. Cities like Wuhan were underwater for months. Millions were stranded. The immediate death toll was staggering, but famine and disease soon followed. Crops were destroyed, and contaminated water bred deadly outbreaks of cholera and typhoid. Estimates of the dead range from 1 to 4 million, making it the deadliest natural disaster of the 20th century. The 1931 floods remain a somber warning of nature's relentless force. April 18, 1906. San Francisco was jolted awake by a magnitude 7.9 earthquake along the San Andreas Fault. Buildings crumbled, streets split open, and chaos erupted. But the real disaster began when ruptured gas lines ignited hundreds of fires across the city. With water mains broken, firefighters were powerless as flames merged into firestorms. For 3 days, fire consumed the city, destroying over 80% of San Francisco and leaving more than half its population homeless. The city's fire chief was mortally wounded, and desperate officials dynamited buildings to stop the flames, often making things worse. When the smoke cleared, 3,000 people were dead, and 25,000 buildings lay in ruins. Yet, from the ashes, San Franciscans began to rebuild, determined to create a new city. The disaster became a defining moment of resilience and renewal. San Francisco's spirit endured, rising stronger from the ruins. The earthquake and fire remain a powerful lesson in the unpredictability of nature. April 26, 1986. At Chernobyl nuclear power plant, a safety test spiraled out of control. A flawed reactor design and operator errors triggered an explosion, blasting radioactive material into the sky. Fires raged for days, releasing a toxic cloud that drifted across Europe. First responders rushed in unaware of the lethal radiation, many paid with their lives. The Soviet government's secrecy delayed evacuation, exposing thousands to invisible poison. Pripyat, once a thriving city, became a ghost town overnight. The exclusion zone remains uninhabitable, and the true health toll may never be known. Chernobyl stands as the worst nuclear disaster in history, a chilling lesson in the dangers of human error and technological failure. The land will bear the scars for centuries. Chernobyl's legacy is a warning. The invisible enemy can be the most devastating of all. March 11, 2011. The largest earthquake in Japan's history struck off the Tohoku coast, shifting the island of Honshu and altering the Earth's axis. The quake triggered a tsunami warning, sirens blared, and people fled to higher ground with only minutes to spare. The tsunami arrived as a series of waves, some over 40 meters high, overwhelming seawalls and surging inland for kilometers. Live broadcasts showed entire towns swept away, nearly 20,000 lives lost in moments. But the disaster didn't end there. The tsunami flooded the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, disabling its cooling systems. 3 reactor cores melted down, releasing radioactive material into the air and ocean. Over 150,000 people were evacuated, and a nuclear crisis unfolded. The 2011 Tohoku event was a triple catastrophe: earthquake, tsunami, and nuclear meltdown, testing the limits of even the most prepared nation. It remains a stark reminder of nature's power and our vulnerability. We've witnessed the Earth's capacity for destruction, from tsunamis to nuclear disasters. These are not acts of malice, but reminders of our delicate place in a powerful world. Yet, in every disaster we find stories of courage, resilience, and hope. Communities rebuild, strangers help one another, and the human spirit endures. Understanding and respecting nature's forces is essential for our survival. Only by acknowledging our vulnerability can we find the wisdom to coexist with our magnificent, sometimes terrifying planet.